Welcome to this screencast showing you how to start a fresh database in 4D V12. We'll start with an address book template from V12 and we're going to call it My Address Book. What we'll be doing with this database is integrating it with Foundation Shell. So right now you can see it's a pretty simple database. The menu only has one item in it, and there's one table in the database. So here we are in design, and we will take the output form here and edit it to remove the buttons that 4D created for us, because Foundation has its own set of buttons, so we won't be needing these. So on the input form we'll delete those buttons, and likewise on the output form we'll delete those as well. Okay, so now we're finished with our address book database, and we're going to start up the Foundation Starter database. Note we'll have two copies of 4D running so that we can drag and copy elements from one database to the other database. So we'll start by copying the addresses table from the starter into the starter database. We need to check the second page here to make sure that the table is created, and there we now have addresses moved over. Now we'll do the same for the input and output forms. We don't want to bring our menu bar over or recreate the table, so we'll turn those off, and here we have the input and output form attached to our addresses table. Now we're done with the original database, so we'll quit that copy of 4D, and now we have our starter database with the items that we want in it. We'll start with the input form to make the changes necessary to have it perform with Foundation Shell. First, we need to inherit the Foundation IO input form. This has the input buttons that you will need. Next, we will associate no menu bar. And we will turn off all form events by holding down the command key and clicking, and then turn on the form events we want: on load, on validate, on activate, on close box, on outside call, on clicked, on data change, and finally on resize. The last thing we need to do is to make a call to Foundation IO input method from the form method. That's all the code we need to activate the input form. Now we'll work on the output form. Just like the input form, we need to inherit a form. This one's called Foundation Toolbar, and we associate no menu bar, and we will turn off all the form events and just turn on the ones we want: on load, on unload, on activate, on deactivate, on close box, on outside call, on clicked, on double clicked, on resize, on header, and finally on display detail. And just as we did with the input form, we need to add a call in the form method to foundation IO output method. Now we're done with our forms. Here's an example. Here are a few of the foundation hook methods where you can add your own code to modify how foundation behaves without modifying foundation itself. The one we will modify here is the foundation hook shell setup, where you set your database name. We'll call this one My Special Book. And you set your database version here. Let's do 1.1. No one likes version 1.0 of anything. And we'll add our copyright information and a URL if you like. If you don't want a URL, just leave this as a blank string. Now we'll start our database up, and you'll see a floating palette with addresses available. That's the only table in our database. So we'll click on that, and that will open up the addresses table. And note we now have foundation buttons across the top. We'll add a couple of records here. And you can see now that we can do a quick sort here by any field in the table, ascending or descending. We can do a quick find. We'll look for last name equal Adams. And here are the standard foundation shell menus. You can set up your own preferences and add to that dialog. And this is just how easy it is to set up a new database from scratch and have the full functionality of Foundation tied into your database. This is a dialog showing all the custom reports you have in your system. Very simple to add to. And thanks for watching.